Peter, I'm a trainer, and today is week 19, I believe, of our RPYT prenatal yoga teacher training, and we are going over half moon, which is like this, or with a block. This is our pose of the week. It's like this, right? Okay. We're live, so blips and bloopers and all. Half moon, and so that's our highlighted pose of the week. And then we will do our lead trainer set and give you a flow today as usual, and also highlight some teacher training tips, some anatomy tips as they come up. Feel free to hydrate, and let's get started.
Hydration is important. Things that are important. They're all important. There's no priority. The important thing is that check with your doctor to make sure that exercise is appropriate for whatever term you are in your pregnancy. Always be sure to check with your doctor first. Once you know you're clear to do any type of exercise activity, yoga, whatever you choose, then you know that these poses and these postures will be safe for you. So that's one word of recommendation. 2, always be hydrated. 3, and I think is the most important, even though I didn't say prioritize rest. If you're feeling it, don't push it, especially when you're pregnant. If you're not feeling it, don't push it.
I think that's a great tip. I always say, nobody gets paid when you're sleeping. You're not shopping for things and stuff like that, but that is really the best thing for us, and it's not advertised enough because I feel like it's nobody benefits really from advertising it. I also like to say, you never see for broccoli or green beans because some of these things that
they're not good for us,
are good for us. Everybody knows for us. There's no need to advertise it. So this
you don't advertise drama.
Yeah, always back to fundamentals. And there's as we do this exercise, we'll indicate rest position, child's pose, and so forth.
Child's pose, or just sitting up and just chilling. Sit up against the wall. Sitting up, there's many ways to rest. This is such an easy rest.
So this is nice because you can work on your back.
Your back is supported. You work on your posture a little bit.
So yeah.
Every time we have a video, we will integrate just different ways to take care of you. The most important thing is for you to take care of you. Self-care, right? That's what we do. Have fun, self-care, learn, educate ourselves.
And one of the other things I just thought in my head, when you're pregnant, remember you can ask for help. So that was one of the hard things for me. I would rather just do everything myself than impose on someone else, but this is really an opportunity where people may know you're pregnant and they may be willing to help, and feel free to get support that you need.
Always feel free to get support. It's very important. And with that said, I'm going to ask Ashley to come to a nice comfortable seat, maybe on a block or a cushion, whatever she's feeling this morning. If you don't have traditional yoga props, you can make your own props out of folded up blankets, pillows from the sofa, or even a cushion from the sofa. You don't need a yoga mat or yoga props to do yoga. You just need your body and be a little bit inventive, right? Or resourceful. I always think of myself as being resourceful, and I always try to empower clients to be super resourceful with themselves as well. And just because they don't have the traditional things doesn't mean they can't practice, right? So, and it also gives me another segue into there's no excuse not to do something.
And also, sorry, I think like as a teacher, this is teacher training. I try to always think, what is the purpose we're trying to achieve? So if someone says get a bolster, sometimes our mind immediately jumps to, I have a bolster, I don't have a bolster, or what's the right one? But if you think about what is the purpose we're trying to achieve? Well, the purpose we're trying to achieve is to create a little hip tilt. So does it matter? Sit on a textbook if you want. you sit on your sweatshirt. The other thing, as a teacher training tip, and Peter, please chime in if you disagree, because he has 25 years plus experience, and he was my certified instructor, and you know, there's so much to learn from him. But basically, in terms of modification, sometimes people will say, oh, person is like uncomfortable crossing their legs. What's the modification for each? And sometimes teacher trainees, they're like, I can't remember the modification for this, or I can't remember the modification for that. And so I said, let's just break down, what are we trying to achieve? So at this moment, what we're trying to achieve is a comfortable, relaxed position. So does it really matter if it's like this, or like this, or
one leg
you know, yeah, like this. It doesn't matter. So when you, whenever you feel in a quandary of not knowing how to direct your student or how to make a substitution, my advice is to ask yourself,
even like this,
what is the purpose you're trying to achieve? When you think about the purpose you're trying to achieve, then you can use your infinite amount of creativity to find a solution.
In easy, the objective is to have your root chakra open, your pelvic floor open, and your hips higher than your knees. So you can take the block swing because naturally your hips are higher than your knees when you sit. You see this? Naturally you like this. But if I said, Peter, my knee, we did a lot of yoga the other day, you pushed me or whatever. I tweaked my knee when I was walking the dogs or whatever it is. Have my leg come out. That's another way to take care of yourself. Remember, it's about taking care of yourself. So just a sidebar, I have a torn meniscus and arthritis in my left knee. But I can sit in easy pose, but there are days where when the weather's bad outside, I have to actually have my left leg extended. And I just sit like that. And if I sit like that, sometimes when I'm teaching a class, sometimes students sit like that. And I say, I'm only sitting like this because my knee bothers me today. And if I overdo it, so pigeon, any other pose, if I overdo it, I'm going to be limping later, and I don't want that. I want to walk around nice. So I'm taking care of myself as I'm teaching. So just know, your students will follow you. They are your mirror. Sometimes I say that word wrong. Anyway.
No, but that is true.
That's true, right? So from here, let's begin to close our eyes or have a soft gaze. And as we turn our focus and attention inward, let's begin to take an internal scan of our body. And as we're doing this internal scan, let's begin to notice our breath, our life force. Let's begin to notice our heartbeat, a beautiful heart. And allow the brain, because the brain wants to attach. As soon as you begin to go quiet and inward, the brain starts to wander. Sometimes the to-do list comes up. Am I doing this right? Are my eyes closed the right way? Who cares? Who cares? Just close your eyes. It doesn't matter if they're closed the right way or the wrong way. There is no right and wrong in yoga. It's just union with yourself. And whatever you feel, whatever adjustments you make, and know that when you're seated in easy seat or in any meditation pose, it's not about sitting still and upright and steady. It's about softening. So I'm going to ask Ashley if she feels comfortable and relaxed. We're going to ask her to soften even more. She's going to draw her elbows close in. She's going to have her palms flipped toward the ceiling. Did you see her shoulders just drop and her chest opens? And now ask her just to relax her eyelids. Notice how as soon as she relaxes her eyelids, her jaw softened as well. I'm going to ask her a gentle parting of the lips to release any clenching in the jaw. Then she's going to just gently pull her belly button in towards her spine. Why? To support her here and to take pressure off her hips. She's going to ground her root chakra down, and she's going to root her sacrum down into the earth and lift the crown of the head toward the sky, to create length in the spine. Yoga is all about spinal health. Lengthen your spine. And then ask Ashley to turn her focus and attention even more inward. And whatever noises, whatever internal voice there is, it's not about fighting it and turning it off. It's not about that. It's just about inviting, accepting it. Let it just be wander. There's nowhere to go, no place to be, but here and now. Focusing on your breath. Focusing your attention to you, not in a self-care. Putting space between our thoughts. Separating the real from the unreal. And then honing your breath. And continuously scanning the body for any tension. Maybe holding tension in our fingers. Spread the fingertips wide. Maybe holding tension in our shoulders, arms, neck. Again, make any necessary adjustments. Life is about evolving. With that, we can evolve into ourselves, into that whatever form suits us in that moment. Because that moment, once it's past, you'll never have again. In yoga, it's about cultivating presence, union with yourself, community with others, and to learn how to respond versus react. Learn how to withdraw from the noise. And since this is a prenatal class, to nourish yourself first. And nourish this wonderful being that's being created within you, that's growing. And will be welcomed into the world. When you quiet the mind, the body speaks. In this case, your body and the body within you. Human being. This creation that the universe has given us. Gift. Every day is a gift. And when there's two of you together, that gift is for two. And it's not about me, it's about we. How can we soften even more? How can we find rest within this seat? Slowing down the breath. Breathing from the belly versus the chest. Take 3 rounds of Dirga, or 3-part yogic breath. Dirga breath. Inhale, fill the belly. Breathe into the and breathe all the way up to the chest and the heart, clavicles, collarbones. Pause. Exhale from the heart, the ribs and belly. Inhale, fill the belly, ribs and chest. Exhale from the heart, the ribs and belly. In today's practice, in addition to our half moon pose, peak pose, at the end we're going to end with Ujjayi breath. Ujjayi breath. What is that? Ocean sounding or Veda breath. And then very slowly, allow the eyes to float open. And just notice how you feel. Without any attachment to anything, there's no right or wrong. There just is. There just is. Peace. A little bit more, maybe. A little more open. Just to be we have a lot of fun here, ShareLove.Fund. This is the realness.
So, yes, my colleagues are a bit quiet, but
Very.
yeah, it's it's interesting. Obviously, meditation is available to us at any moment, but for a lot of gay people like myself, that our minds are going. We kind of need an appointment to stop. And so this is really a treat. Like sometimes we won't just sit and concentrate on our breath, even though our breath is available to us. We won't do that unless we're in a class and someone, and it's on the schedule. So I guess I encourage, we talked about self-care in the beginning, and I encourage everyone to sort of think about a schedule that meets maybe it's 5 minutes a day of checking in. Maybe it's 1 hour a week of exercise. There is no right or wrong, and a lot of this stuff that I say for clients that are trying to find a schedule, like they'll say, how much yoga do I need to be a successful, or this or that. I said just try it, let's pick something and let's try and implement it. There is no perfect schedule because life changes. So what works for you this month might not work for you next month, depending on your kid's schedule or something like that. So we don't need to obsess over having the perfect schedule, but we should start to get into some kind of routine. And so just having check in with your breath, even remind ourselves to breathe, because a lot of times we forget to hold our breath and restrict our breath. So when you're ready, if you can't remember all the fancy breath names, the bottom line is that your breath should not be stressed and your breath should be continuous. And so just like a relaxed, continuous breathing, nourishing your body, and then that relaxed, continuous breathing has side effects, relaxed shoulders and relaxed jaw, relaxed temple, and it's kind of like a positive domino effect. More clarity, better decision making.
I always think of, sorry,
No,
but I always think
all day.
I always think of breath work, yoga, exercise, taking time for myself as when you're on a plane and they're teaching you about the oxygen. Don't put the oxygen on the kid first. Put the oxygen on you. Why? So that you won't panic and you're better able to take care of the people around you. So let's just say this. Put your oxygen mask on first. Because if you're putting everybody else's, guess what? You're gonna do it in panic. Because your mind is attached to, when is mine coming on? Even though you're doing the work and going through the motions of applying everybody else's mask, you're panicking about having yours on. And about how much time do I have with this air? How much air do I have left? What's going on? What's gonna happen? That's where your mind is. So you're not even breathing in that moment. But if you put your oxygen mask on first, and then you are able to take care of everybody else, that is a perfect, simple form of self-care that I can relate to this. So what did we learn today? Put your oxygen mask on first. Period, end of story. I know it's hard, but it's necessary. That's why we sit and meditate, practice, and cultivate.
Yeah, it's our oxygen mask.
It's our oxygen mask.
And we're doing it first.
Exactly. Okay, Ashley. So we're going to start with some sun salutations, all right? And we're going to weave in a little bit of anatomy, especially in the peak pose today. So I'm going to ask Ashley to come to the front of her mat. She's going to set herself up for success by placing her blocks, bolsters, having everything close by her. And we're going to take Ashley through a third trimester class. So Ashley's been practicing yoga, right? Let's just say throughout her whole entire pregnancy, or she's a beginner, wherever she's at in her practice. She's feeling a little out of sorts. She's carrying maybe an extra 15, 20 pounds, 25 pounds. Some people carry more, some people carry a little less. Doesn't matter how much you're carrying a little extra weight, right? And you're a little nervous about moving. Ashley had a wrist injury, not last week, but the week before. So we're also going to be mindful of that wrist injury as well. So what does that mean? I'm not going to have her do a lot of sun salutations, meaning on her hands or planks or down dog. We'll incorporate down swimming. And there's ways to take care of self-care with the wrist injuries using our blocks. So for today's class, Ashley's in her third trimester. Maybe she's got a week, a month, months. We'll see. So close your eyes or have a soft gaze. Draw the crown of the head out of the sky, bring the feet down toward the earth. Pull the belly in, draw the sacrum down. Have your palms face forward. Chandrasana, mountain pose. Or standing savasana. Standing resting pose. Great for posture, great for centeredness, interconnectedness, mental clarity. Tones the legs. Again, I'll emphasize, amazing for posture. And the biggest thing is for proprioception, or awareness of the body in space. Inhale, overhead. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift, hands to shins. Exhale, fold. Inhale, bend the knees, step back to plank pose. Notice, if she wasn't pregnant, I would have her jump back. But she's pregnant. And then from here, since she's in her third trimester, I'm just going to have her untuck her toes and come into an up dog. We won't keep her here long. Inhale. Tuck the toes under, exhale, downward facing dog. Step her right foot forward, left foot forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, Tadasana. Arms out, hands are center, or arms alongside you, palms facing forward. Mountain pose. Sun salutation. Inhale, we're going to start to warm up those legs nice and strong. Inhale. Urdhva-hastasana, right? So, Tadasana, upright arms. Exhale, chair pose. Belly in. Drop your sit down. So if you have 10 inches in the shoulders, you always bring your shoulder height or parallel with the earth. Drawing the shoulders away from the ears. Sitting your hips back, just sitting down. Hugging the thighs towards one, keeping the chest lifted, dropping the sacrum down. See that little adjustment that Ashley made? If she didn't make that little adjustment, she'll feel tension in her lower back. Breathe. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, right center. Exhale, set the right back to plank pose. I'm sorry. Set the right foot back to warrior one. She was going to warrior one, but obviously call that plank pose instead. That's why I don't listen to the teacher sometimes. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, draw the arms behind you, interlace them. Exhale, fold at the hip. You wash your left shoulder on the inside of your right. Your left knee. Good. Humble warrior. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, right hand reaches the earth. Left hand reaches the earth. Step back to plank. Untuck the toes. Cobra or up dog. So cobra, she would drop the knees. Up dog, hips and thighs will be lifted. And if some of you need to feel some safety, we'll do it in our next round. Slide a little bolster under the belly, you'll see. Inhale. Tuck the toes under, exhale, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward, left foot forward, forward. Hug the opposite elbows. Shake the head yes, shake the head no. And breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out. Inhale, hands to shins, half lift. Exhale, press into your feet, rise to stand, mountain pose. Check in, mountain pose. Where are we? What are we doing? Why are we here? Inhale. Inhale, arms reach out overhead. Exhale, chokes. Inhale, step your left foot back to warrior one. Beautiful, so warrior one. Drawing your shoulders forward, not necessarily the hips. Not a good idea to bring that back. I just want to do a little anatomy thing here. Stay right there. It's going to come to the back side of you here. So if Ashley, to try to rotate her hip forward, she would be torquing. I'm just going to, has good knees, but she would be torquing her knee. That's not a good thing. I like my client's knees. So I want her hips, her knee to be here, her hips slightly off center, but her shoulders pointed forward. Beautiful. Sorry, I didn't ask permission to make adjustments, but I just done that. Nice job, actually. Good job. Inhale. Now, different, you have to do the same thing on both sides. Some people like them symmetrical. I like to think outside the box. My yoga, out of the box yoga.
He's like a rogue.
I am a rogue yogi. I'm not a traditionalist. Inhale, I never have a plan.
Yoga.
And then now from here, draw shoulder blades toward one another. Beautiful. Cactus arms. Pull the shoulder blades in just a little closer. Yes. Cactus arms here. Now she's getting a back bend. Drop the head back ever so slightly. Beautiful, Ashley. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, fold at the hip. Plant hands to the earth. Step back to plank. Exhale, knees, chest, chin.
Okay, I'm going to use the
Blocks for this one, for knees, chest, chin.
Support.
So we're going to stay there for a second. I'm not going to fully do the thing yet. Just come to the knees. Come to the
Okay, while you set that up, I just wanted to say something as a teaching tip. So basically on one side we did warrior one with, and on the other side we did warrior one with cactus. Peter said that he doesn't want to be asymmetrical. I just want to point out though, because it makes sense. So basically he talked about making it different on each side, but his routine is 100% symmetrical on both sides of the body, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so
he's not just doing warrior one on one leg and not the other.
Right, so the humble warrior
Yeah.
is a back bend, right?
Yeah.
But with a forward fold. But the cactus arms is a back bend. You just upright.
Yeah, and also it stretches the same
Muscles.
Yeah, the same muscles. So the lunge is different, and we did the lunge on both sides. So we don't have to do the arm same
variations
on
exactly.
both sides. So
Exactly.
anyway, sorry about that. Okay, so we're going to
Knees, chest, chin. So just bring your knees back a little further, Ashley, please. Good. And then from here, I would have her place this under her belly. So knees, chest, chin. She would come down. Good. And then instead of coming fully down, she would lift this, drop her chest. Good. And then now, come into cobra. Beautiful.
So yeah, I think for people that love knees, chest, chin, this is a way to do it. But otherwise, I think it's a little complicated.
Yeah, it can be. It can be. But this is another way to rest. Let's say you want to hold this pose a little stronger.
Or this also feels comfortable.
Exactly.
Oh, but I guess this creates a little more space for
a little more space for the belly. That's all. But you can be on your belly as long as you have support. Perfect place to support.
Yeah, like not on the belly, but basically
just
on the hips.
Exactly. So from here, tuck the toes under, inhale. Exhale, down facing dog. We'll slide this over. And then from here, step your right foot forward, left foot forward, forward, forward. So if Ashley's belly was a little bit wider, maybe she wants her legs a little wider. Yeah, just to make room. Just to make room. Everything's about making space and making room. Inhale and exhale. Bend your knees. Inhale, half lift. Press into feet. Exhale, rise to stand. Beautiful, Ashley. How are we doing?
Good.
Checking in with you. Making sure you're okay, you're alive and kicking. All right. So now, legs are warm. She stretched out her hip flexors, stretched out her hamstrings and quads, glutes, got all that fired up so that we can work towards our peak pose. All right? We're not just going to go right after the peak pose. We're going to work into it. So from here, actually bring the legs a little closer together. Inhale, arms reach out and overhead. Exhale, chair pose. 3 breaths in your chair. So notice how Ashley lifted her toes, shift her weight into her heels, get her glutes fired up, draw the shoulders away from the ears. 1 more breath, Ashley. Inhale. Exhale, hands heart center. So let's focus on where we're going here. We're going to move our body really cool. So we're going to step our right foot back to high lunge. High lunge. Beautiful. So we're going to prepare ourselves for our peak pose. So in other classes, we've done pyramid pose, we've done triangle, we've done other poses. So I'm going to have Ashley, since she's pregnant, come from pyramid pose to half moon pose. I like that entry. It works better for me, and I'm not pregnant. If I ever do, then that means the record books will be, I'll smash the Guinness Book of World Record. All right, so, not yet. So I'm gonna come off to the side for you, Ashley, right here, so you can see me.
A big cheat sheet.
Yes, that's her cheat sheet. We're gonna come into high lunge like this, right? And then from here, we're gonna step our feet in line with each other. So now we're on a balance beam. Think about yourself on a balance beam, right? So we're already proprioceptively training the brain to balance. That's why I like this. Then I'm simply gonna have you just drop your heel, so then your right foot turns out about 10 degrees. So 10 degrees, not 90. This is 90 parallel at the back of the mat, so 10 degrees is a little further in. Now, I'm going to have you step your right foot slightly closer, just so about 3 feet apart. Perfect. Left knee is bent. Then you're going to take your hands to hips. You're going to pull. Now you can almost point both hips forward without torquing that right knee. You're going to pull your left hip back, right knee slightly forward, and adjust your right foot as needed. Does that make sense? Beautiful. Mm-hmm. And then hinge over at the hips. Grab your blocks so that they're alongside you. You want that block in the right hand a little closer to you, beneath the right shoulder. Perfect. Perfect. At whichever height you feel. So from here, Ashley, the next thing you'll do is you'll begin to straighten out your left knee and draw your forehead to knee to get that stretch. No, just straighten out the left knee. See, she's ready to go. She's ready to fly. Breathe. So you want to stretch out that leg. Inhale. Exhale. Get that stretch. Inhale. And exhale. And now from here, I'll have Ashley hold on to the blocks, slide the blocks forward ever so slightly, come up to the highest that the blocks go. And then I'll have her softly bend her left knee and then float her right foot. Just float it a little bit. Just float it. Beautiful.
So this is sort of like supported Warrior 3 that we did last time.
Yes. That's why I love the sequence that you created to be able to go from Warrior 3 to Half Moon. I love that.
Well, I have to thank my other instructor, Jennifer Cadarso, who's amazing and now teaching in Peru.
Beautiful.
But blessed us with her sequence.
And then from here, I'll have Ashley bend her left knee and then drop her right foot down again.
Okay, I don't know.
No, just drop it back. Drop it back. Okay. There you go. Okay. Now, bring the blocks forward, because now as we take our little journey into Half Moon, we want these blocks to fall beneath our shoulders. Okay, shoulders over your shoulders over your wrists the whole entire time. Now from here, Ashley, inhale. Bring your The block that's in your left hand, bring it over in front of your left foot. The block that's in your left hand, that's the left hand. Exactly. You want to be in one line. Exactly. Now from here, inhale, lift the right foot up off the earth. Good. Slight bend in your left knee. Good. Now, begin to open the hip. Turn the hip. Good. Rest your right hand on your hip for now. She's ready to go. Straighten out the left leg. Now step into, think about pressing into the big toe of your left foot and then open your hip more. That's the cue in this foot. I learned that biomechanically. See how she's able to step into the big toe of her left foot to open up her hip more? Perfect balance. Beautiful, Ashley. Inhale. Exhale. Maybe we should keep her here to the end of the video. Inhale. Exhale. Now to come out of this safely, what she would do first.
I lost my focus, but I was thinking we could do a fundraiser like for every dollar, for every minute $1 for
yes,
for the incarcerated women's program. Okay, sorry.
So
but
now
yeah,
from
focus
here,
is key.
Yes, especially in balancing pose. Now just come
I
out
lost my
and come into mountain pose. It's okay.
Okay.
So what I'm going to have you do so that we could show both sides of you so you're not giving your back to the lovely audience, and have you flip everything around to the opposite side.
Okay, nice to meet you. We're gonna be partners.
Then we're gonna also do, so come into, no, you're gonna come right into mountain pose.
Okay.
She's ready to go already. See this? Such a great student.
The air conditioning just shut off, so I'm
A little warm?
That's fine, but yeah, that's my excuse.
Inhale, sweep the arms out and overhead. Exhale, chair pose. Beautiful. Belly in, drop the sacrum down. Have all 10 toes facing forward. Yeah, so again, have your students have all 10 toes pointing forward. So the same cues I gave her, this time I'm going to do little hands-on cues with her, if that's okay with you, Ashley?
Yeah.
So the same cues I gave her verbally, I'm going to give those cues to her, a little hands-on cues. And we're going to talk a little bit more about cues in this pose. Everything works with each other. Use the body, and use every part, every nook and cranny to be able to achieve the pose. And one side will be different over the other. So on your next inhale, step your left foot back to high lunge. Right? You step the right foot back before, step the left foot back to high lunge. Look at the power in those legs. Inhale. Exhale. Hugging the thighs in towards one another. And then now from here, lower your left heel down at 10 degrees. Good. And then step your left foot just, now slide it over so that both heels are in one line. You're on a tightrope or a balance beam, whatever you want to call it. And you might not be able to fully achieve the tightrope on both sides and it's just hip tightness. You might be tight in your quad, you might be tight in your hamstring. Also, bones come into play, bone structure comes into play. Just a little side anatomy thing here, if I may, Ashley. Sometimes, this hip, where the head of this bone or your femur is, might not be able to rotate in the socket like the other side. So, you might not be able to achieve, with this leg back, you might not be able to achieve this hip forward. Just notice that. Sometimes it has nothing to do with your muscle, it's all about bone structure. You might have a little arthritis setting in. You might not have a smooth bone socket. No, you might have somebody that has a hip replacement. Know that all of these nuances, know that. Or because of your pregnancy, you might be limited. Or you might be so hypermobile that you can do anything, right?
It really comes down to listening to your body. And,
exactly.
There's no one cookie cutter.
Exactly.
So have the confidence, like if it's not working for you, have the confidence to set a boundary. Exactly. And not push something that hurts.
Exactly. It's not supposed to hurt. It's supposed to mold. Yoga is about molding and forming into the pose and arriving versus forcing your way through it. It's not about no pain, no gain. Because the only thing you'll gain from the pain is a lot of heartache and doctor's appointments. All right, Ashley. Now from here, fold at the hip. Reach for the blocks. Slide the blocks back. Now, notice I'm having Ashley reach for the blocks. Two things. When you're pregnant, you want the support. You want that support. Now from here, Ashley, begin to straighten out your right leg just a bit and come into pyramid pose. Pyramid pose. Lower the head just a little bit. Get that stretch in the hamstring first so that you'll be able to fire up the glute. Draw the right hip slightly back, get the glute fired up. Yeah, you feel that glute working now? Stretched, beautiful. And then now from here, come to a flat back. And then bend your right knee. Bend your right knee. Belly in, press your belly in, flat back, float your left foot. Just float it. Float it. And adjust the blocks as needed. Left hip is down. Good. That's how we start. Left hip is down. Bring the blocks a little bit more forward. Good. And these are going to be my adjustments now. I'm going to just take Ashley's foot, have her press it into me. Yeah. And then I'm going to adjust right here. I'm going to have Ashley turn her hip out. She's going to place her left hand on her left hip. Beautiful. Now she's going to press into the heel of her right hand. The heel of the right hand. Good. I got you. I got you. And then now think about pressing it. Before you do that, press your hips forward. See that? Beautiful. Now I'm going to release. So I am turning her foot so she can point her hip forward. She has a big smile, and I know this is tough for her. Engage your core, and I'm going to release. And she's going to hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then she's going to bend her right leg, and then bring her left foot next to her right. Come to a forward fold.
All right, next class we're putting a teacup on the.
That's right. We're going to put a hot cup of coffee on her hip. A hot cup of coffee on her left hip. Or maybe a cold one. What do you like? What do you hate worse, hot or cold?
Well, being burned sucks. I'm more of heat than cold.
Good job, Ashley. Give her a hand. Good job, Ashley. Let's come to mountain pose.
Sorry.
Arms rest alongside you. So that's our peak pose for the day. So little things to talk about. When you're in the peak pose, may I actually move the blocks a second?
Oh, wait, so, yeah, sure, go on the pose.
Yeah, come into the pose. You want to start off with both hands onto the blocks. Right?
So we'll start off Warrior 3 like we did in class 18.
And then what I meant, so that you can get good balance, is to press into the big toe. That cue right there, as you press into the big toe, you're able to open up your hip more. And then as soon as you open up your hip, you take this hand and place it on the hip first. Then you use that hand to guide the hip open more. All right, you won't come forward. And then you extend. And the last thing to do is imagine if there's a hook up here, reaching up. So this is what you would do for your student. You would open up the shoulders. And this actually relaxes the shoulders. And if you really want to be a support for your student, there's many ways to do this. But for our purposes, this is all I want to do, Ashley. I'm going to let go of her hand. And look at this. Amazing. 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 Good job, Ashley. And then now, a great way to come out of this pose for her would be to bend her left knee, look at the block that's under the left hand, and then bring her left foot next to her right and come to a forward fold. Good job, Ashley. See how cool that was? That's another cue, another adjustment. There are plenty others, but these are the safe ones without really doing anything that has anything to do with boundaries. Remember, boundaries are very important. Let your student invite you in. You make an offer, let the student invite you in. The student says no, don't take it personally. It's the student's comfort zone. I work with a lot of people, both men and women, and I only teach privately. I don't do group classes any longer. I prefer the private, even though I do, if a class comes up, believe me, I won't turn it down. But working privately, you have to be very careful of boundaries. You have to know your students' limits and your limits. And then from here, hands to shins, press into the feet, rise to stand. Good job, Ashley. So anatomically, what she's strengthening in half moon is on the balancing leg. So this case was her right leg. You're strengthening, and you can maybe turn, turn the opposite way. Oh, there you go. She's strengthening her right glute. Strengthening the right glute, right hamstring, under the butt, hamstring, and all this down through here. So it's great for posture. So when you're doing these balancing poses, one glute's going to be weaker over the other. Why? We have glute amnesia. We sit over to one side over the other. My left glute is weaker than my right. I'm naturally right-handed. So I always know that I have to really work and focus and connect my brain to my left glute even more. So I have to talk to it. Hey guy, time for work today. So, and a lot of times if we're sitting at work all day, we're gonna have even more glute amnesia because they're turned off. They hate you because all you've been doing is sitting on them all day long, right? So these balancing poses help you get back in touch with your core and your glutes. And if you don't think your glutes are connected to your core, you have a whole class to teach you about that part. So one thing you can do to prep yourself for these poses, you can turn around actually. One thing you can do to prep yourself for these poses, and this sounds very simple, is I'm gonna have Ashley take a block. This is for any of these balancing, single leg balancing poses to connect to your core to help you feel better. We've done this together. Take the block, place it between your thighs, not your knees, your thighs. So bring your block up a little high, like a Pez candy. Like a Pez candy. Remember those Pez candy machines?
I do.
Now, press into the block and then press your hips forward. See the Pez candy coming out a little bit? Now you, there you go. Now your glutes.
This is why it's live on YouTube. You're in the comfort of your home, so you
So now
do this as you want to your comfort level.
So now disengage your inner thighs and watch the block come back a little.
Yeah.
All right. So now turn around, face the camera.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's
this
interesting.
is like a good little. I mean, while you're on the phone or something like this, or
100%.
you can just because it. Basically, with balancing, if you don't engage, you'll fall.
Yep.
When you use a block or a prop, it's just very clear whether you're engaging or not.
No.
You can feel the movement. So it's not that these props are necessary. It's just that it's harder to cheat.
Yes.
When you use a prop.
Exactly. So one other thing you could do is press that Pez candy forward. That engages your belly button. It also aligns you in posture. So if you want to practice Tadasana, if you're not just feeling Tadasana that day, it's a great way to practice Tadasana. The block between the thighs.
Yeah. It's almost like, in swimming, there's like something similar, so you can just focus on the arms.
Oh yeah, the buoy.
So,
the buoy, yes.
So this is almost like an exercise like that, because I'm thinking when I do Tadasana like this, I'm not thinking about engaging my legs anymore. All of a sudden, I'm feeling how relaxed my shoulders are. But normally without the block, I'm hyper conscious. Are my legs engaged? Are my legs engaged? So this just makes it on autopilot. Like your foot doesn't want the block to fall on it, so it just automatically, like a reflex.
If you're teaching, I do half-hour yoga classes with my students sometimes, and one good thing to do is, if I want the glutes to fire up really quickly, I'll have them do chair pose with a block between their thighs, and then go into balancing poses.
Yeah.
So just little tricks of the trade to get you to quick thinking about how am I going to do this in half an hour?
Yeah,
right?
which is so great because people
Don't have time.
Time is what we don't have.
Exactly. But you have to make the time to have the time.
Yeah, that's true. So like a schedule.
Oxygen mask first, right? Your oxygen mask first. So thank you for those little tidbits. I just had to go over that anatomy really quickly.
Yeah, no, we love having the anatomy.
Okay. So from here, Ashley, since we did some stretching and we did some things, I'm going to bring you into a nice relaxation pose. You've earned it, Savasana. So you're in your third trimester. So I'm going to create Ashley's Savasana pose for her comfort zone. So in third trimester pregnancy, second to third trimester pregnancy, you don't want to lie on your back fully, right? Lie on your back. I don't think it's dangerous, but it's just not appropriate, depending on where the fetus is, where the belly is. Maybe it's riding up into your ribs a little bit too high. Just anatomically, it's not cool. And it also, when you're lying on your back, even if you have a cold or whatever, it's not good to lie on your back because it puts pressure on your chest, just naturally. And if you're pregnant, it puts more pressure. So I'm going to create Ashley's little prop for Savasana. So I'm going to ask her to scoot forward. Now, if you were in a group class, you would have the students create their own props depending on what's available. All right? So if there are no props available, everybody sits against the wall.
Okay, so that would be what we
Prop
discussed
number one.
in the beginning.
That would be prop number one.
So it can be even cobbler
Cobbler's pose.
pose.
Yep, that's prop number one. That's the best prop.
So yeah.
Because that's relaxing, the wall supporting you.
Or a tree.
Or a tree, exactly. If you're outside, exactly. Exactly.
Or back to back, two people.
Two people sitting back to back is perfect, especially, you know, especially if you know each other, right?
Yeah.
Really, really cool. Mommy and me yoga classes are great for back to back as well. You're great for back to back. That's another whole story. But
Yeah, do our postnatal WhatsApp and for more on the mommy and me.
knee stuff. Cool. So then we're in a traditional yoga class, we're in a traditional yoga studio, so we're going to create a prop for Ashley made up of yoga props. First thing we want to do is have our blocks available to us. Blocks can be one like this, like a T. I like to create a T. I'm going to take the bolster, and the first thing I'll have Ashley do is, this is not working today, is place her hips right up against the bolster. Just the hips. Come a little closer. Yeah, almost as if he's sitting on top of it. There you go. And then I want Ashley to be up as high as possible. So I'm going to take a blanket and I'm going to place it here. And then I'm going to have Ashley lie back. And if she still doesn't feel comfortable, I might take another blanket. So normally we demonstrate this with a bolster, but I'll demonstrate this part with a block. So I'm going to have Ashley sit up one more time. We will take yet another blanket and have her lie up against this. So she's almost seated upright. Now, if you don't have an extra bolster or a blanket or a foam roller, notice the foam roller works too. You can take blocks or pillows.
So this goes with what we were saying earlier that when we think about it in terms of what is the purpose we're trying to achieve, we're trying to elevate the knees. When you realize the purpose is just knee elevation, then you realize that it doesn't need to be a squishy prop. It can be anything. So by thinking about really what is the purpose you're trying to achieve, then it's really easy to make substitutions and to use what you have, so you're not using your hard-earned yoga teacher income to buy all these props. Plus, students in a post-COVID world, a lot, especially prenatal, are germ sensitive, and sometimes they just want to use their own stuff. So.
And one other thing here, I don't like Ashley's neck the way she is, or she doesn't feel comfortable. Some people don't feel comfortable having their head go back. When I first met Ashley, she did not like her head doing back bends or having her head going back. I'll never forget that the first time we did yoga together. She says, I feel weird about my neck going back, about my head going back. So I taught her another sidebar, how to make a shelf for her head. I'm not gonna ask her to do that because I want her shoulders to relax. But in back bends, I showed her how to make a shelf with her shoulders so that when she drops her head back, she feels comfortable, she feels supported. So what I would do, if I was Ashley's teacher, I would just lift her head just a little bit, just like this. And I would fold this guy and this guy underneath to make a little pillow for her head. Does that feel a little bit more comfortable?
That's awesome.
Now she's in a position where she's just fully relaxed, fully supported, and now she can totally let go, because if her neck was holding on, this would creep up. Her shoulders would creep up to support. That's just a natural physics, natural reaction. With every action is a reaction, right? So that's so true with the body as well. So now she can come back to her meditation, back to where we started this class today. Back to where we started. Inhale, fill the belly, ribs, and chest. Exhale, chest, ribs, and belly. Inhale, fill the belly, ribs, and chest. Exhale, chest, ribs, and belly. And taking it easy and just settling into where she is in this moment. Feeling her way through her relaxation. Fully letting go and surrendering. And noticing. Noticing how she feels in this moment. And in Savasana, you want as less talking as possible. You want the student to fully surrender and integrate the practice. Not about remembering, it's about integration, because the body remembers. It's the mind that needs to attach to the memory, but it really doesn't, because it's integrated within us. And then very slowly and very gently, begin to bring awareness back to the body. Begin to wiggle your fingertips, wiggle your toes. And gently, gently rotate the head from side to side. And then very slowly begin to plant your feet onto the earth. And then take your hands, reach for your thighs, reach for your knees so that you can pull yourself up into a seated position. Beautiful. And then you can find yourself on a comfortable seat, a cushion, whatever you'd like, a block, whatever you'd like. And come back to where we started, landing in your seat with your eyes closed or having a soft gaze. And just coming back to that space. With each yoga practice, I was taught to start with meditation, end in meditation. Some people consider Savasana meditation. I don't necessarily consider it meditation. I consider it more of integration, relaxation. And the meditation at the end doesn't have to be long. It could be 2 minutes, 3 minutes, it could be a minute. It's just a check-in. And it's also a noticing of how you felt when you first started, meaning seated, and how you feel in this moment, if there was any changes. And as we draw our hands to heart center, relaxing the elbows down, relax the shoulders, softening the jaw. As we bow to ourselves, we're not bowing to me, I'm not anybody, I am no one, I am just me. We are bowing to ourselves, why? To take the time to be here now and practice this gift that is within us. Yoga, union, one. And as we lift our heads in gratitude, the light in me honors the light in all of you in YouTube land, and Ashley for creating the space for us to be able to do this. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Peter. Thank you so much to all our clients on Teachable. We appreciate it so much. Please submit comments in Teachable if you have questions. We'd love to hear your feedback and meet your needs. And we're so appreciative of our clients on Teachable because it funds our youth leadership, board, our incarcerated women's program, our jail mail program, and so much more. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.